Alright guys, sorry there's been a lack of content lately. My personal life has just been crazy. Yeah, and there was supposed to be a live show yesterday, but I had to deal with a security issue. I don't want to go into too much detail. It's nothing serious. It's just, someone decided to try and knock something off. But that's okay. Which reminds me, I need to go and finish digging that back hole. Just joking. Okay, Australian Federal Police. I'm not going to bury someone in my backyard. I'll bury him in my neighbour's front yard because mine's full of rocks. I'm joking, alright? No, but look, serious, it's no real big thing. It's just someone tried to knock something off and I just had to deal with that. So, let's jump into it. Let's talk about this rally because I saw the headlines come out and I thought, was it really that disappointing though? But let's break it all down. So as some of you know, and some of you who tuned in, we actually live streamed the Trump's Tulsa rally. And personally, I thought the rally was high energy. It was a good Tulsa rally. It was a good speech from Trump. He was funny. He was good. Now, obviously, there was noticeable seats emptied. I noticed that when we're watching the live stream. But I also noticed the number of people watching the live stream too. Look, at the end of the day, obviously, we are being heavily suppressed, obviously, on this channel. And even with our suppression and everything like that, we got anywhere from 15 to 20 people turning up at one point there. So, that's not bad for a live stream. But, obviously, the mainstream media was very much focusing on the amount of people that turned up at the rally. Trump was expecting around 30,000 people. They had around 7,000 turn up. They like to use this photo here, but to be honest, it doesn't really reflect the actual situation. That was just one shot that they managed to take. But it said it had a half-filled arena, which is funny because you're showing that. But anyway. So your words kind of contradict your own photo here. This campaign itself, we expected, to have like record-using crowds, and basically they estimate the crowd somewhere around 6. I've heard 6 to 7,000. So at the end of the day, it's somewhere around that number. Now, the Trump allies blame the crowd size on the Democrats. I really didn't hear much from the conservatives about this, to be honest. Most people I heard trying to use the TikTok thing was mostly actually from the Democrats. The Democrats were claiming victory because the K-pop and TikTok video went viral, where people went and flooded the Trump rally requests with RSVP tickets. And at the end of the day, look, sure, like even I said to one of the people at work, look, hey, 1 million people are going to turn up to Tulsa rally, right? Sure. They played Trump's campaign a little bit for a fool here. But to be honest, I don't think it really had much. I don't think it had much to do with the TikTok, right? Let me explain this. You can go and RSVP for something. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to turn up, especially something like a rally. If it's a wedding or something like that, normally an RSVP is a solid yes. Yeah, yes, no, maybe. But with a rally and stuff like that, an RSVP is very much, I'm interested in attending, we'll see what happens, I'll see if I can get there. I've RSVP'd to rallies and stuff and changed my mind at the last minute because of security concerns or whatever it may be. Yes, I do go to them. But I was going to say, but at the end of the day, I've also changed my mind as well. So I don't think 1 million people going through an RSVPing yes to this rally was as detrimental to the campaign as what the Trump rally, the mainstream media and the Democrats are thinking it is. To be honest, Tulsa has a population of about 350,000, I believe. I think it is for population. So getting 7,000 people to 30,000 people to turn up, 30,000 would be 10% of the population. So, look, at the end of the day, and I do think that Trump could have done that. He could have easily got 30,000 people to turn up, and I do think there were actual factors that went against him to actually stop that from happening. Obviously, beer bug. Obviously, security concerns from the far left. Also, the fact that it was live streamed on literally every channel, myself included. So at the end of the day, I do think that there were other factors that were the combining factors as to why Trump's turnout wasn't as much as he wanted. Now, there are reports, and we'll get to those later, that obviously he was furious about the turnout and stuff like that. But there's also some good news too. But let's keep going. Let's break this down. So I don't think this whole TikTok thing, I don't think it really played as much of a part. Maybe it played a part in them estimating like overflow and how many people they could go through, and like them setting up the outside area. Maybe that affected it. But yeah. Trump downplayed beer bug cases continue to rise. I think this beer bug was one of the major factors that stopped people from turning up. Now, there were reports that also over 1,000 people were turned away at the door because they had a slight temperature. It's like they were standing outside in the sun, for example. So there's that. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think the beer bug definitely played a factor in people sitting there thinking, well, do we want to go to this event, or do we just want to stay home and watch it on YouTube, for example, or on Fox News? The Trump's race comments create more to the base than the masses. Whatever. Biden continues to lay low, expecting Trump to self-implode. Good luck with that strategy. Yeah, he literally has a basement strategy. Although I think this is more about him not being coherent enough to actually string two sentences together. K-pop stans, teens on TikTok may have inflated expected turnouts. Now, I believe this is an honest report. I do think they may have inflated the turnout, but at the end of the day, I don't think it really made much of a difference. I don't think Trump was going to get more than 7,000 people to turn up with the current conditions. You have beer bug, you have the security concerns from the left, you have people being turned away at the door because they have a slight temperature because they're standing outside in the sun all day. Look, at the end of the day, and we'll get to the numbers of the ratings, and I'll tell you now, there is definitely an interest in Trump's rally. But I do think at the end of the day, and here's the actual crowd here, right? So this is what they're showing. It's about half capacity, which is fine. Now, obviously, comparing to the photo they decided to use up here, you compare that, for example, to that. And that's where I have a problem with mainstream media. But anyway. So I do think at the end of the day that, yes, they may have affected how many people RSVP'd, but I don't think it affected how many people got in. Now, there were also reports that Antifa, or far left, were blocked one of the entrances into the actual event. So you had the far left turning up, you had the far left blocking an entrance, you had people being turned away because they had a slight temperature because they were outside in the sun all day waiting for Trump. You had it broadcasted on almost every YouTube channel that was anything from left to conservative, including myself. Like I say, and it was also broadcasted on Fox News. Now, obviously, Trump's base, the Republicans, generally tend to be a bit older. So, at the end of the day, you have an older population that's sitting there thinking, do I want to necessarily go to a rally where I could possibly catch beer bug, or do I want to stay home and watch it on TV? And that's where I think it happened. Right? So, I don't think the TikTok and K-pop, I really don't think they made much of a difference when it came to actual people turning up. I think they may have trolled Trump a little bit with his expectations of how many were going to turn up, but I don't think that actually affected how many people did. And they're trying to claim here, were TikTok and users and K-pop fans really behind Trump's rally? And by the way, look at the person that started the TikTok. Enough said. But yeah, obviously they were going through and, like, oh, yay, yeah, we got him, sort of thing, like, okay, we'll get to the point that you're using a Chinese platform to affect an election, but regardless. TikTok users and K-pop fans are actually behind the low turnout. We don't know for certain. It's clear TikTok users and K-pop fans mobilized to reserve tickets for the event. Okay, but like I said, who cares if 1 million people RSVP? At the end of the day, it's about how many people turn up. And that's, look, 1 million people might RSVP, but did Trump actually expect 1 million people? No. He expected about 30,000. It's not clear these online groups were the sole or even the main reason. So what did Trump's team say about it? In providing, said that the fake news media was to blame for warning people away over the rally. I would say that's actually a higher risk. People going on about Trump rally, beer bug, you're going to catch it, all this sort of stuff, going on about it and all that. I think that was the main threat. That was the main reason why people decided to stay home and not necessarily go to this rally. You could stay home and watch it in the comfort and privacy of your own home, or you can go through and you can turn up to the rally and possibly catch beer bug. And I think that's what a lot of people were like, ugh, I might sit this one out and just watch it on TV. The phone, of course, never affected any of our thinking. A spokesman Right, so, excuse me. Campaign admits that as many as 300,000 fake ticket applicants for disastrous Tulsa rally were found after TikTok troll, and President's fury mounts as he might have to scale back future events. I don't think so. I really, really don't think so. I think what Trump needs to do is simply make it so that, for example, if you want to go to a Tulsa rally, you have to be within 3 states. For example. And let's face facts. Joe Biden probably couldn't even get 10% of the amount of people. Well, actually, that might be a bit on the 7. Let's say he gets 1,000 people to turn up. For some reason. Say 1,000 people turn up to listen to Joe Biden speak. Do you think that would have been a realistic possibility? And, keep in mind, this is the precedent that you set. Okay, if you want to set this precedent, when Joe Biden goes to these events and do that, we can do the same if you want. This is what the mainstream media is gloating about. You do realize this can be done against you too, right? I'm just saying, maybe you might want to think about what you praise before you go on doing it. And then also there's the argument that you can have too with, okay, but this was a Chinese platform used to meddle in a US election. They always go on about meddling, but when it comes to... And look, I think this argument's a little bit weak, don't get me wrong. But, if you want to sit there and claim Russian ads were meddling in the US, okay, but what about this? Does this qualify? No, like I say, I wouldn't call it Russian. I wouldn't call it Chinese meddling to this point, right? I think it's just whatever. But if you sit there and go on about Russia posting Facebook ads, what's the difference? You guys were the one that set these presets. But obviously, obviously people, mainstream media, why was Donald Trump's comeback and rally the site of a massacre? The mainstream media has been running these headlines. But we're starting to get some information here. There was no noticeable spike in air travel at the rally for Trump, for Tulsa rally. While thousands descended on Tulsa the past week to attend President Trump's rally, which, by the way, Joe Biden couldn't have done, they demonstrated that ground transport seems to be the most popular travel method. So the Tulsa International Airport saw no noticeable spike in flights around the passenger Friday through Sunday, airport salesman Andrew Penny says on Monday. He said about 5,000 passengers passed through the security at the airport during that time, about 200 more than previous flights. Now, obviously at the end of the day, if the vast majority of people that are turning up to Trump's rally are doing it via car, then obviously they're not travelling very far and wide, right? Obviously they're within the state to maybe 2 states over, whatever it may be. So, like I say, this is sort of like, okay, well, we had no real major noticeable air travel uptake. It's sort of lending the ability that maybe people just sat at home and watched it on the TV instead of possibly going to the rally and catching beer bug. Trump, and then we're starting to get this. Trump's rally delivers Fox News 7.7 million views. 7.7 million views. A record for Fox News. You can sit there and you can claim TikTok went through and RSVP to turn up to an event. And sure, they might have affected the amount of people that Trump thought that was going to turn up. But they had 7.7 million viewers. So generated the largest Saturday audience in Fox News Channel's 24 history. The largest in history. You still think people aren't interested in Fox? You still think people aren't interested in Trump re-election campaign? And this is just Fox News. We were broadcasting. We had a pretty good turnout for our channel size. And we also went through and we were restreaming that from Right Side Broadcasting, which had really good numbers as well. This 7 million viewers that they're talking about here, this is just from the TV. Or maybe the TV and the internet, I'm not quite sure. But this is just from Fox themselves. These are not everybody else that was restreaming it. So when you say this, sit there and you go, it was a bit of a disappointing, you might have to scale back. Really? You're getting that? After 7.7 million people turned into the rally on one station. You really think he needs to scale it back? Record for Fox News for 24 year history, and you think he might have to scale back his campaign? Really? Really, Queen? You going there? I don't think so. But let me keep going. Trump's campaign also says it had 4 million additional unique viewers watching the streaming platform online. So here you go. So they had 8.2 million viewers in early February. That was for the last rally. This one, they had 7.7 million viewers according to the Nielsen's data. So it's the highest after the presidential State of the Union address. Now, so they had 7.7 million on TV. They had another 4 million on the internet. And we also had people like Right Side Broadcasting and everybody else going through and restreaming it as well. How many people do you think turned into this rally? Like, hello? Yeah. Looks to me our viewing numbers in Nelson's report for the National Security Advisor John Bolton's interview on ABC drew 6.2 million viewers. So, they couldn't even beat the rally turnout. 8 million viewers watched Fox News coverage of Trump's Tulsa rally. President Trump tweeted a rally and was nowhere near packed to the rafters event the president had promised, but the president drew a crowd watching Fox News. Fox News channel drew a total audience of 7.6 million viewers between the hours of 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern. Far ahead the non-rally coverage airing on CNN, which had 2.2 million. And NBC for 1.9. Disappointing turnout for the event was much discussed in the news reports as the outlet's rally was cancelled and the news networks noted that large numbers of empty blue seats in the arena. So it had 20,000 capacity. There was also an overflow outside for about 12, I think it was, so it was about 30,000. Trump also relatively poor views, blah, 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 blah. So like I say, yeah, and obviously Fox News, 7.7 million viewers for coverage of Tulsa rally. And at the end of the day, 8.2 million was obviously the Fox News rally coverage, the most watched program for the weekend. It also said that the average of 6.7 total viewers through the evening is the highest network history for Saturday prime time. The network also said that it beat other networks in the 25 to 54 demographic with 1.5 million viewers. The audience peaks in the 9 p.m. Eastern hour at 8.2 million. Much of the overall coverage of the rally aftermath has focused on the lower than expected turnout, with rows and rows of empty seats. Yeah, whatever. And Trump rally gives Fox News largest Saturday night audience in history. So, what do I think actually happened at this rally? What do I think is the outcome of this whole situation? To be honest, I think there was a lot of factors. Beer bug was definitely certain one, especially with you had some of the Trump campaign testing positive for it. You had far left extremists who were threatening to turn up to the event, who were going to, and who also did block one of the entrances from what I've heard. You've also had a lot of rioting and protesting lately, so a lot of people decided to probably sit it out just in case there were going to be more riots and protests. And at the end of the day, this whole K-pop thing, I really don't think... And when I saw this coming out yesterday, I was like, really? You really think people RSVPing is going to stop? Because I noticed all these people tuning in and watching the stream. Like I said, we decided to live stream it, and by the way, guys, we will live stream every rally that we can. So obviously, feel free to tune into all of them. Presuming I'm not held up with something, we'll be live streaming them all from now on. Yeah, I liked it. I liked watching it. I liked sitting there watching it with you guys and discussing it. So we're going to keep doing it. But at the end of the day, I noticed the numbers when we were live streaming. I noticed Right Side Broadcasting at the start of the stream, about 45 minutes before it started, had 80,000 viewers. Fox News hadn't started at that stage with their live stream. They were still waiting for Trump to go live. And I obviously didn't know the Nelson numbers because obviously, But yeah, I noticed that Right Side Broadcasting had like 80-something thousand, 88,000 I think it was. So I noticed that, yeah, there were a lot of people that wanted to sit at home and watch this rally, and that's what I think it was all about. It was people wanting to sit home who wanted to, stay away from beer bug, stay away from the far left agitators, stay away from people that were protesting, stay away from the rioting and protesters and stuff like that. And who just sat there and thought, well, look, hey, we can watch this one from home. He's probably going to come back sooner rather than later. We'll catch it next time. But for this time, just with everything that's going on at the moment, we'll just decide to stay home and watch it on TV. And apparently 7-point-something million people decided to do just that. To me, like I say, this doesn't prove that Trump's falling or popularity is weighing or anything like that. To me, this is proving at the end of the day that, yeah, this is big. He is still able to have millions of people tune in to listen to him speak, whether it be done on the internet or whether it be done in person. And look, I would say you're probably going to have lower than turnout average for the next one or two more rallies. But as it starts getting closer to the election, as it gets closer to beer bug being an afterthought, I think people are going to start turning up and packing into these rallies again. So I really wouldn't take much notice of the mainstream media, lamestream media, when they're sitting there talking about these bad turnouts, because to me, I just don't think it's anything that's really that important. It's disappointing he only got 7,000 instead of 30,000 to turn up. Fine, sure. But, yeah, they definitely tuned in to watch. Online thing is still a thing, especially at the moment with all this beer bug and everything going around. I really don't blame people for not wanting to turn up in person. But, guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Do you think at the end of the day this K-pop had an effect on people turning up? Do you think it was just them RSVPing and just flooding the RSVP with, Yes, to obviously make it seem like more people were going to turn up. Do you think at the end of the day it was like left-wing agitators or beer bug or a combination of all? Let me know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. If this video has been helpful, please smack that like button. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, there's probably going to be another 1 or 2 videos later today. I'm going to go and have something to eat and come back. But yeah, I just wanted to get this video out there and talk about this because I think the mainstream media is having a lend of themselves. And I think at the end of the day, they need to just, calm down with the fake news a little bit. Let me know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. If this video has been helpful, smack that like button. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, we'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great night and enjoy.